in our education here, I think we made a lot of friendships that have lasted throughout, and that's not something you see very often. And I think that's kind of a testament to this school and what it stands for, this idea of a community that's not separate but together. And so we've been able to keep friendships. Some of them are now linked up as spouses, and so that's kind of been interesting as well. But yeah, it's definitely more of a community than I think you can say in a lot of other educational situations.
I would agree. All the girls that I graduated with, I would consider them more of my sisters than my friends. Just because we've all gone through everything together. We fought, we loved each other, we've gone through, you can name it, we've been there for each other. So, like he said, we're always in contact with them. I mean, we have, as funny as it sounds, we always have a group chat going on our phones. So whether or not, something's going on in somebody's life, we're asking somebody to pray for each other, which is really cool because even though, somebody's going through a different time in their life, you still get to be a part of it. So we might not be in the same state, we might not be in the same town, but we're still in contact. So the fact that they pray over you is huge. I know that made a huge difference for my class. And I mean, we come to class every day, and the first thing we did was pray, and it was meant a lot. I mean, it means more to me probably now than it did then, but every day, every class you went to, you started out with prayer. So looking back and comparing, when I graduated, I'd say that having those relationships here with my peers and then also with my teachers made me want those relationships outside of ACA when I graduated and when I went to school. Even though I went to Iowa State, not necessarily a Christian college, but there were still groups out there that I could still stay connected and be able to be a part of that community as well, and then to also challenge myself and to find those mentors that were still going to pray over me just like my teachers did, and to have those friends that were still going to be by my side, even though still my friends were kind of out and about and doing their thing in their schools. But I also found those relationships at school with those people that were at a church or in a group that I wanted to be a part of.
And we were led back together after high school here. And got married in 2012, started talking after I graduated, so he was blessed us in that way as well. We both understand that our parents made a conscious sacrifice and a conscious effort to put us here. In my situation, it was slightly different than Mary's in that I was here in 8th grade and I was determined to get myself back out of here. Didn't want to be here. I only knew one person here, and I was just determined not to have a good time and not to make friends and make good relationships. And after a couple weeks, that was impossible. But I still had people pull me back, so I went back to the school I was at, and then I hit a low point, and I happened to come to an ACA volleyball game and just poured on with love. And that was something that I was missing. And I think God really understood that I needed people around me that were going to love on me and in more than just praise. I think going to my parents that night and saying, I want to go back, and they said, absolutely. Not many parents would just say, yeah, I'm willing to make a budget to push into your education after we already tried that once. And they let me make that mistake and come back, and looking back, I see how much of a huge sacrifice that was, and I'm very grateful for it.
I mean, both of my parents went to public schools, and my dad always said that he would send us to a Christian school. 4 kids, they didn't have a whole lot of, probably didn't have a whole lot, I don't know. But, it's a huge sacrifice. It's also a time commitment because, as parents, they were heavily involved. His parents were heavily involved when we were at school too, and that makes a huge impact as well because you're there giving you the opportunity to be part of a community that loves you, from people from all different points in life. You go to somewhere else, and I'm not sure if it's different, but here you don't necessarily have to have the same things in common with somebody else. but you love each other. And that was pretty big. I mean, for having my parents, my mom was a music teacher, my dad was on the board, and I did sports and stuff. I mean, coaching. It was, I don't want to say that it wasn't like, I was just used to it. I loved it. Everything about it was so great. And I appreciate that more than I did when I was at school. So, I mean, I still appreciate it then too, but I mean, now that I look back, I'm like, oh, I want to be able to do the same thing for our kids someday, and I want to make sure that they know how much I love them.